Hi again. So I just wanted to touch up on the video that I just made and just add a few more things that I realized that I didn't share. And the last video, it was, can a believer have demons? And so one thing I also wanted to bring to the light is if you have ever looked into parasites, I have come to believe, as well as many others have come to believe, that these are the physical manifestation of demons, because we have the physical and we have we have the natural and we have the spiritual, you know. So if you've ever looked at parasites, what they actually look like is very demonic. They look like nasty, creepy monsters. And they also do the same things demons do. They, control thoughts. They cause depression. They cause forgetfulness. They can control you, and they feed off of junk. And so myself and others have personally come to believe that they are like a physical representation of a spiritual demon. And also, the best way to get rid of parasites is through fasting. One of the best ways to get rid of demons is through fasting, right? Denying our flesh. So, and that's what can make fasting such a challenge to get going, is because these parasites will start to crave and fiend and tempt you to want junk and toxic stuff, and they thrive on the sugar and all the crap that's not good for you. And they really mess with your mind, and that's exactly what demons do. So I just wanted to mention that, as I forgot. But also, I mentioned in the last video how I would just switch off. Like, I would just go into a rage, or I would just go into being defensive, or like I would just lose control. And there was like not the opportunity for me to take the thought captive, because it literally overpowered me. So that is a real thing, and that's why I do believe that the demon can be in you. That is not always just coming from the outside. This is something I agreed with long ago, or was born with, that I grew up, and it only makes sense because there was not a lot of love in the home. There was just this constant rejection from my grandmother, bitterness because she hadn't been healed from her traumas, and she had chose not to forgive, and she was just a very bitter and mean person. And so there was not love and acceptance at home, so growing up, I started to feel unworthy of love, and I started to believe that. So that demon moved in, that demon of rejection moved in. And even if you are unwanted while the mother's carrying you, you're going to pick up that frequency. You're going to pick up that spirit's going to move into you, because you were being rejected. And science has caught up that our sin changes our DNA, and it changes our children's DNA even when they are already born. So this just goes to show the generational curses and the spirits and things. But I also wanted to say that even though I had been overpowered by things and I felt like I had no control, one thing that I also found was, like, I would pray, because after I would come out of it, which is really hard to come out of it because you're in full agreement with it at that point, like my husband correcting me, I would feel rejected by it. I would take it as personal rejection. And so I'm agreeing with rejection at that point. And it's hard to come out of that, especially with the trust issue, because there can be a false peace and a false sense of security if it's like an old bad friend, that wants to keep you isolated and to destroy all your relationships. There can be like a false peace with it. I've experienced that. It's really kind of frightening, but it can be hard to come out of that, because then trust requires vulnerability, and whatnot. But anyway, what I was wanting to share is that I would pray, because like after I would snap out of it, or I would like realize, like, man, this is not okay how I acted.